Have you ever loved an addict? Been in a relationship with someone who you really want to get sober? Maybe a partner, maybe a parent, maybe a child. Could be a friend, but I'm kind of thinking about these relationships where you really feel like you are so invested in the other person making this change, and you've been trying and hoping and pleading and doing everything that you can to hope that this person is going to get to a place of sanity and sobriety and see the light. And maybe they've tried, maybe they've had periods of sobriety and they go back and forth. Maybe they've told you it's what they want to, but they don't follow through, or it doesn't stick, or it just becomes this like chaos of ups and downs and almost a roller coaster of sorts. First of all, I just want to say, if you've been in this, I feel you, and it's really hard. It's really hard to detach, because when you detach from someone, you almost feel like you are just saying, oh, okay, whatever. If I'm not doing the work to keep their life together, or to support them or help them or give them money or do the things that I've been doing, they're going to be even more screwed. They're not going to make any progress. They're never going to go to rehab. They're going to be on the street. They're going to for sure not change. And that is a really hard thing to accept, that it's actually not in your control, this letting go. But I do feel like that keeps a lot of people stuck, is this feeling of, if it's not me, they're not going to do it for themselves. And if I don't do it, and if I don't help them, they're going to die, end up on the street. They're going to, you name it. These consequences are significant and scary. And it's not just like, oh, I'm not going to call my friend back. I mean, that's a silly example, but it's like, it's playing for keeps often, and it's really difficult. I just finished the book, All the Way to the River by Liz Gilbert, and that book is a lot. The heart of the book is around codependency and addiction. And, there's a lot in there about, her partner, Rhea, talking about addicts as if they're vampires. And if they're, when people get to a certain level, that they're no longer the same person that you know them to be, they're a vampire. They are taking from you. They are sucking the blood. They are taking the money. They're taking the emotional resources. They're taking the things that they need in order to survive. You are no longer interacting with the person that you love in the same way. And I think this is a really important piece, in that if you are not an addict and you are with your sober self, witnessing somebody else in their addiction, you are seeing them from a place of reality, when they are seeing themselves and their whole world from a completely unrealistic, delusional place. And I'm not saying that to put anyone down. I'm saying that if you are an addict, part of being an addict is that you are not sober a lot of the time. You are not able to see the truth of things because you're not operating in reality. You are operating from a place that is altered in one way or another. So I think it's really hard for this acceptance process for people, in part because of that, because they're not in a place of being able to really see things from in the sober light of day. So I say that because when you're talking with someone who is an addict and you love them, and they lie to you and they treat you a certain way and they talk to you in a certain way that is just so painful, I'm not saying give that person an excuse, and I'm not saying don't hold boundaries. That is the opposite of what I'm saying. However, you have to understand that person they've almost been overtaken by something else, by a substance, by an addiction, by a craving, by a yearning, by a needing. Their whole life becomes narrowed into needing something. And anyone that's in the way of that, they're going to cut down in order to get that thing. So you, as the person who loves that person, when you've been in the cycle of codependence, everything revolves around the addict. Everything revolves around their addiction because their life revolves around the addiction and your life revolves around them. Part of getting healthy is boundaries and detaching with love and understanding that you can't be an endless source of an endless well that they're just tapping, whether that's money, whether that's emotional support, whether that's picking up the pieces, whether that's calling into the job. Oh, they can't come in today, they're sick, whether it's any of that. If someone doesn't have the consequences, if you are cleaning up the consequences for them in their life, they are not actually going to get better because they have a whole system around them that is enabling them. And I think it's very hard because often what you feel like you're doing is helping the person, and in some ways you are, but you're also keeping them and helping them stay sick. So I'll give you an example of when I got to a place in my relationship with my mom where I decided to cut my relationship off with her. I didn't know how long that was going to last, that separation. I just knew that I had given everything that I could give and it hadn't worked. If it had worked, I probably would have been like, great, I did it. I helped her get sober and I, go me. But when it didn't work and I felt like she was still floundering and I felt like she might die from this. I can't ride this ride. She doesn't care if I'm pouring every single ounce of my love and being into her because she can't accept it. She can't feel it. She doesn't have it for herself. So I need to put myself first. And there was a huge grieving process for me of letting go of this like life's mission that I had and being like, oh my God, I have to let go of this core thing that I've been focused on. And now I'm going to shift my attention to myself. And there was grief in that and sadness. And there was also this sense of, I love myself enough to put myself first for the first time ever. There was so much power in that for me of like, I get to make that choice. I didn't even realize I could make that choice. And now that I have, I'm giving myself this message that I'm worthy of that for myself, that I'm worthy of sanity, that I don't have to go on this ride again with her. And ironically, that was the moment, that period of time when my mom lost so much in her life that it humbled her and she got to a place where she was able to make a decision to get sober for her for the first time. It wasn't, I'm trying to get sober for my kids. I'm trying to get sober for everybody else so they'll get off my back so that, it was her saying, okay, if I've lost it all, is it still worth it for me to have a life? Now, I'm not saying hold a boundary so that the other person gets sober. I'm saying hold a boundary because you are worth it and you're worth living a life for that is not just dependent and riding a wave that someone else is on that they aren't choosing to get healthy from. So I guess the point of what I'm saying is that this stuff is really hard. It's counterintuitive in that you feel like what is helpful, showing up and giving all that support, there's a limit to that and it becomes enabling and it becomes a place where someone else can use you and use all of that support to keep an addiction running. And that you and your life and your goals and your sanity and your dignity and your dreams are all worthy in and of themselves to be focused on and to figure out if someone's life and addiction is causing you so much pain and so much chaos. The solution isn't, how do I keep helping them? How do I keep making sure they get sober? How do I keep pushing for this? The solution often is, how do I detach with love and take care of myself and trust that this person has their own higher power to say to them, I love you, but I'm not going on this ride anymore. I'm here for you when you're ready to make a change, but I can't do it like this anymore. You are not that person's higher power. You are not that person's key to health and happiness and sanity. They are, and their higher power. And I say higher power, I mean the universe, I mean all of our purpose and all of our best self, being aligned with that, being in a place where you can receive what that looks like for you. Nobody is supplying that to anybody else. We all have to have that and find that for ourselves. And if you take on too much for somebody else, you're saying, I don't trust that you can do it. And maybe you don't, but you have to hand the ball to them, because that's the only way that they're going to get better, and it's the only way that you're going to have a life that is worth living for yourself. All right, I hope this is helpful. I will see you next week. Please subscribe if you are enjoying these, and let me know what would you like more of in terms of relationships, attachment, codependence, healing. I got you covered.